And I stood my ground on that. And, not a lot of people know. 10/7 things happened. I put out a statement. We said our things. That next day or that evening, I got a call from the White House telling us, take down your statement. This is a call from within the White House.
Wow.
Take down your statement. Don't use these words. If you don't take down your statement, we're going to discontinue engagement with you.
You are now listening to the Arab is Me podcast.
Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to the Arab is Me podcast. Don't worry, you came at the perfect time. We didn't even eat yet. We're ready to go. Alhamdulillah. My name is Durrah. I am your host of the Arab is Me podcast, and I am very thankful all of you have decided to join. Please make sure you like, you subscribe, you comment, you share. That includes all of your family WhatsApp groups, mashallah, and everywhere else. Make sure that you're following us and be a part of the process. We're looking forward to growing this podcast with everybody. So today we have a special treat. I've known this brother for, I feel like, going on a couple decades or more now. He is an attorney. Really, he's done a lot of work within the civil rights and advocacy fields. He's also a community organizer. He has worn so many different hats in the community. So I'm really excited today to be joined by the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that nobody knows the amount of work that this guy does, and I'm just so happy to be joined by him today. So, Faddal, welcome to the show, Abed Ayoub. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for having me on, and we haven't eaten yet, so when's that going to happen?
Yeah, to be honest with you, this is because it's Arab is Me podcast. I always like to make sure I'm asking a question that starts the judgment. This is not like a judgment-free zone. Judgment-free, like, it's free for me to judge. Yeah. So I always like to ask, if we were sitting down, we're at your table, right? We're sitting there, we're having a meal. I need to know what's on the table and be very careful with how you answer, because if I hear like salata, it could throw things off. So what's on the table?
Kibiniya, some raw meat. Some kibiniya with cooked meat on top.
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So the cholesterol,
some cauliflower, and that's about it.
Sure, and cauliflower. What is it?
You have to have your veggies, man.
Oh,
you got to have your veggies.
Veggies are the
peanut and lemon.
Okay, so like the produce section of the grocery store, I've never even heard of cauliflower.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have one. Like, you got to have a vegetable like once a week.
Yeah, for sure. Get some fiber.
You gotta. I mean, you can't just only eat raw meat. Like.
Yeah, actually, we had. I don't know if Dave Marhej. He was in the Rami show. He's a very funny comedian. He had told me on the podcast that his most underrated food was kibbanai. That's what he said. He said it's one of the most underrated foods.
It's one of the best foods around, man. Like, seriously, what's better than a plate of like kibbaniyah? Like, what's more Arab than that? Nothing.
Yeah,
but I'll put it up against any other Arab dish, man.
Yeah, but it's you got to be careful where you get it, because
I mean, with all food. Listen, if you're gonna have like the World Cup of Arab food, like kibbaniyah is making at least the semifinals or finals.
Okay, then who's okay? Let's say there's four finalists. Kibbaniyah. Then what are the other three? I need to hear this part.
Hummus. I mean, it has to be there.
Hummus doesn't score a lot of goals, but it's very consistent. If done correctly, it's got firepower.
It has to be there, man. It has to. Yeah. There's no chance,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, honestly, like what the other two would be. I mean, I'm sure you'd say something like, mansaf or. But I don't think Palestine breaks into the semifinals or finals of the Arab Dish World Cup. There's no way.
Palestine?
Yeah, I don't think Palestinian food breaks into that.
Oh, come on, bro. Like, you're telling me like a good kidra or matluba doesn't break in?
No, it doesn't. You lose in the quarterfinals.
Oh, I don't know, man. Okay, well, thanks everybody for being a part of this podcast.
There's no way you can't. Not. You know why? It's because not a lot of people appreciate it. So not a lot of people are going to sit down and eat.
Okay.
Locally, though, your mom's msakhan, though, that's like killer right there. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know, you're starting to kind of save yourself here.
Yeah, trying a little bit, but
you had me. You know, maybe this is like the Arab Jerry Maguire. You had made hummus. You know, but yeah. And did you know that hummus is actually a natural appetite suppressant?
I don't know what an appetite suppressant is.
Yeah, this is what somebody told me. They said that like it makes you want to eat less, which is ironic because every time I have hummus, I put more on top of it.
I mean, you use hummus for everything, like.
But maybe I need to have an Arab dietitian or nutritionist on to confirm.
Yeah, I've never heard of an appetite suppressant.
Speaking of which, by the way, Abed, you are originally from Dearborn, right? Dearborn. Yep. One of the most misunderstood cities in the entire United States. Misunderstood, Africa, like not just by non-Arabs, misunderstood by Arabs. I was just in Dearborn a couple weeks ago, and I was telling you this, that my wife, when we came back, she was telling me, like, I have never seen a more customer service oriented, hospitable town in the entire US. Like everyone, bro, I was going to places and I would ask them like about bread. I was like, oh, is this bread good? And they'd be like, here, just take. Like not even charging me. I don't see that outside of the Arab world. Like I don't usually see that. I didn't realize that was a thing. Like people are like, here, let me help you, here, have this. Now, when she said it, I believed it because Anna, to be honest, like if I'm in those areas and they give me food, like sometimes I'm kind of like the circus freak for them a little bit because they're like, mashallah, the guy, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
She's much smaller than I am, bro. She's fit. So, yeah. But I said it's misunderstood because I don't know why there's this feeling that like when people talk about Dearborn, they're like, oh, Dearborn's crazy, man. You go into Dearborn, everybody in Dearborn knows each other. Wallahi, if you just sneeze, there's some 13 people text you saying, Hamakallah. Like, word gets around, like, you know, but I know that's your hood.
Yeah, man, Dearborn is the hood. Dearborn is home. Dearborn is, you know, the greatest American city, I think, right? So it is, it's really misunderstood. I mean, we get why a lot of non-Arabs talk about it. And then we also get why a lot of Arabs talk about it, right? And it hasn't changed and it won't change for anybody. I mean, the people in Dearborn
Wallah, bro.
Exactly. Will maintain who they are. They are Wallah bros. They're proud of it. They're proud of their culture, their identity. You know, and it's this concept, you know, I somewhat believe in it too. It's kind of a little bit of like leaning into a stereotype. Like, I don't think you need to fight or push back against every stereotype. I think like the Italians did that perfectly, right? Like when you say Italian, you think mobster, they leaned into it. They made great movies. They made great characters as the tough guys. Well, Dearborn's Wallah bro stereotype, they've leaned into it. They're not hiding it. They'll let you know that, you know, they're at the gym all the time, or they're, you know, constantly arguing or fighting, or, you know, doing the best they can to succeed at business. But underneath it, you know, underneath all of that, and it's just a very family-oriented, family-driven city. The same city that, you know, everybody else in America is trying to become. That's the part of it where, you know, the non-Arabs that hate on Dearborn, that's the funny part, is that if you changed out the Arabs for white people, they would call it one of the most successful towns. They would love it. They would be all over it.
Yeah.
But because it's Arabs and it's Muslims, they have issue with it. But that's starting to change a little. The perception's starting to change a little bit.
What would you say though, like, because obviously Arab is Me podcast, like I always want people to straight up learn. Like I know I like to joke around a lot, but like, what would you say are like a couple things that really you find to be incredibly, you know, unique, that you feel like, you know, when you're saying like, hey, the greatest city in America kind of thing, like what are those kind of unique elements that you feel like it has? Like for me, I always say you can go your entire life in Dearborn speaking only Arabic and never miss anything. Like everyone you see, every doctor, every lawyer, every restaurant, you can just speak Arabic, you know. And to me, I love that in a way because I feel like it's a lost art, the ability to speak Arabic. I know I'm always trying to improve my Arabic, but what would you say are those couple things that are like nobody else has?
It's really stuck, you know, at its core, it's remained true to what Arabs are with the hospitality, you know, like the respect for the elders, the respect for the religion, and it hasn't veered off of that much. So as American as it gets, as westernized as it still gets more Arab and more Muslim. So they've found this unique way to maintain both of their identities and not let go of either one, and to do it successfully. And again, they remain true to who they are. You can have successful business owners, successful entrepreneurs, doctors, attorneys, whatever the case. Everybody there is doing their thing, but they're not changing who they are. They're maintaining and keeping who they are. And the cultural part of it, you know, like last summer, I was taking my daughter, kind of showing her where I was growing up. And we were walking from, you know, my grandmother's house to my middle and elementary school, Lowry School, you know, and it wasn't until then I realized, like, man, I'm not even a block away from my elementary school. Like, how cool is that, right? Like, kids don't have that these days anymore, where you would leave your school 2-3 in the afternoon, run to your grandmother's garage, she's making falafel or fish or whatever, they're making their fatayat in the basement, right? Like, these experiences you think would only happen in the Arab world but are actually happening here. And when you hear about the way we grew up in Dearborn and then listen to the stories of how our parents grew up in the Middle East, there isn't much difference. And I think that's where it's unique. Like, I could still had those experiences, but had them here, right? And transplanted them here. There is a part of it. I mean, it's changing, but it's also at the same time maintaining, you know, its core. And I always say, look, Dearborn's not changing. The community's not changing. It's the people that are changing. You still have people there that are as if they're in the 80s and 90s. Like, not much has changed. Their kids are still out. They're running around. They're, you know, up late. They're not plugged in. They're with their friends. They're you know, doing the things we used to do, and the parents are parenting the way we used to parent. So it's not that the cities change or the times have changed. It's that people have changed. But you're starting to see more and more, you know, people thrive and people strive to stay in Dearborn and to be more like Dearborn at this point.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, and I'm not gonna, I realize that it's tough to be factual on this point, but because I'm not sure if they've actually counted. Do you think there are more cars in Dearborn or coffee shops?
That's a tough one, man.
I think it's coffee shops by 30%.
I think it's coffee shops, but wait till you start seeing the coffee shops in cars concept.
Wow.
You know, yeah, it's going to be, you know, Kahwa House on wheels. I mean, that's going to be like, you know, Hadas on ponies. I mean, it's going to be amazing.
I've never been inside of a coffee shop and seen somebody, like I saw this happen in Dearborn, where somebody was on the phone talking to their friend, asking them, like, بدك تشرب قهوة؟ نروح نجيب قهوة? Like, he's in the coffee shop asking, do you want to go get coffee? So he's on the phone and he leaves to go meet his friend for coffee from the coffee shop. There were so many, and God bless them, so many Yemeni coffee shops, by the way. Like, I love the amazing work. But then behind my joke here a little bit is, bro, like, entrepreneurship in Dearborn, like the go get it attitude, like people kind of will make it work. And then also, like, I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, well, you know, this place in Dearborn, I wonder if they have good food or they have good this or good that. And I was like, but they kind of self-police in Dearborn in terms of, like, if you're not good, shubidak for Yelp, shubidak for Google, if you're not good and the community says you're not good, you're not
going to make it.
Shutting it down. Like, I don't need a Google review.
Look, the coffee shop thing, that's an example of like there's enough to go around.
Yeah.
There's enough for everybody to be successful. There's enough for everybody to do it. And there's enough support there to have double the coffee shops they have, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is Dearborn alone has $9 billion of peer-to-peer transactions per year. So that's money that stays within the community, that's circulated within the community. So,
$9 billion.
$9 billion. And that statistic might even be higher because that's from the late, that's from like 2012 or 13, the last time we did a study. So it might even be higher. And again, it shows that the money stays within, the support stays within, and the business owners are giving back. So if a coffee house decides we're going to open, we have a flagship store in the East End, but we're going to open in the West End, that's, giving back to those consumers, to those customers that drove across town. A 15-minute drive is not too much. Well, you know what? At midnight, if you just want to run out there, or 11 p.m., you want to run down the block and grab something, that's convenience, right? They want to open up where the customers are. That's giving back. That's contributing to the community. I like it. And a lot of communities, a lot of ethnic communities, want to emulate what Dearborn is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have a lot of Arab communities, Muslim communities that look at it and say, no, this is not what we want. We need to be catering towards, the white crowd or the non-Arab crowd. All of a sudden, hummus has chocolate flavoring on the menu, or, they've bastardized shawarma, or they've done something to the food or to the menu where you're like, I would never eat this. Well, they'll tell you, well, you're not the customer. You're not the target customer. Well, that's a loss for you.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of us here that would support you. So there's a lot behind it. On the face, it just looks like, oh God, another business, but there's a lot of positive behind it.
Yeah. No, I'm sure, like, it's to me, it's an incredible thing. I always think about, Chicago, Patterson, New Jersey, Bay Area, Houston, Dallas. Like, there's a lot of even here at DMV, there's a lot of like areas, that have a lot of Arab, but like when they say the highest concentration of Arabs in outside of the Arab world, I honestly feel like there's a chance, like, I don't know if anybody's done this, but are there more people in Dearborn than Qatar? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's its own country. But at the same time, like I said, I think it gets a bad rap sometimes because people just don't know. They've never been there, or they went there for 35 minutes and got some knafa and left. Like, it's a different ball game. Like, as you said, like, people seeing the old man or old lady in the grocery line and no way cut in front, like they'd be like, hey, no, you have to come, just like that kind of stuff. I love those kind of things. And I was even gonna ask you a little bit, like, obviously you've done a tremendous amount of work trying to represent Arabs within the United States, that are going through hardship or are being, really selected or scrutinized or targeted for various different reasons that all connect back to their, whether they're Muslim or Arab or whatever it may be. But like, growing up in Dearborn, how much of that led to the work that you love doing now?
I think a lot of it. I mean, growing up in Dearborn, growing up around the community, you pick up on things. You learn what others view, how others view you, what others think of you, and at a younger age, you may have been isolated, and may not have been paying attention to discrimination, to hate, to bigotry. It wasn't. If it did show its face, again, it showed its face from others within the community, right? Like, you can be Arab and Muslim and still be Islamophobic. You can be Arab and still be a self-hating Arab. Like, they exist. They're there. There's many examples of them, right? So you did see that. But, even those coming from outside of the community that are living there, like the Polish community, the Italian community, the white community, we never had issues with them. We never had problems with them. But around, 9/11, when I was in college, you began seeing more of it. You began seeing the portrayal of Arabs and the way they were talking of Arab and Muslim community. And at that same time, I was at a point in my life where I was running part of some very successful Muslim youth groups. Like, not a lot of people know I used to give Islamic lectures and talks, right, to the youth. And it might explain a lot why some of them are in trouble now, but no, I'm just kidding. But like, they, it was a really like taking a lot of the religion and a lot of the lessons, and then realizing at that moment that, sometimes God puts you in a position and gives you the tools to help and to give back. And, I felt that calling that, God blessed me, gave me an opportunity. He gave me the opportunity, through the hard work of my parents, to go to law school and to give back and to uphold, justice, to uphold our community. So that's kind of what drove me into the civil rights work. It was needed at the time. It was needed at that moment. And we were going through very serious challenges. I mean, people forget how serious they were. And a lot of the initial response and reaction after 9/11, if you look at, go back and look at the way things were handled, a lot of folks from Michigan, from Dearborn, handled it a little bit differently. We weren't hiding.
Yeah.
We weren't looking to change our name. We weren't looking to cancel our lectures. We weren't looking to hide, and not talk about our religion. Or we embraced it. We welcomed people. We welcomed conversation. We even welcomed debates, and we welcomed, controversies, and we welcomed drama. So anything to get the cameras on us, because we had enough confidence and faith in ourselves to best represent who we are and to talk about who we are in a way folks will understand. So it was a very, strategic approach, and it was a lot of like beautiful chaos going on at that time as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of the work that you've done in the community, like I said, representing people who weren't treated fairly, weren't treated like citizens, weren't treated like they had rights, weren't treated like their green card mattered, weren't treated like, the ability to study just as a student and just kind of go about their business. And I know that you've represented a lot of those people, and I've been around you before where, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're getting phone calls. I mean, truth be told, just before we were chatting here, they're like, hold on, you're getting a call, somebody having an issue, and it's, for me, that's a tough thing, because when I've done humanitarian work, I feel like at times I've seen people at their lowest, and like when they've hit rock bottom, and food and shelter are one thing, but you've seen people at a different type of rock bottom, at a, I almost want you to speak to that. I don't want to do too much talking about it myself, but like, speak to that, and like, even if you want to give some anonymous examples of like, to put in perspective when people talk about this work, when they romanticize it, that are like, Abed gets a phone call and the person says, hey, Abed, this police officer stopped by my house. Oh, here's what you do. And everyone goes and has dinner. Those are not.
They're not, man. Look, it's nothing about it is to be romanticized. It's hard work. Not a lot of people appreciate it. Not a lot of people know what goes into it. Like, the reason those phone calls come in at 1 or 2 in the morning to like an attorney like myself or someone else that's similarly positioned, there's many out there. I'm not claiming to be the only one. There are a few lawyers out there. You're trusting them. You're trusting us because we have the track record. We put in the work, and most importantly, we put community and the well-being of community before anything else. And to the point where it ate away at my own health or my own well-being, or in any way, just so we can take care of the client or the family's needs. And, rock bottom could be ugly, and it can manifest and show its face in many ways. And, one of the ways I've seen it, are the splitting up of families, right? The not splitting up, in the sense that someone is going to prison. And both are bad situations. But when a father or a sibling or a mother is sent to prison, you have an end date. They're serving 3 months, they're serving a year, they're serving 2 years. And in a way, that finality of it, that like, this is the end. Like, we know if we get past the next 3 years, our father's going to come out And I've seen families I've sat with, they do the math, well, his son will be a junior in high school, or your daughter will be just entering middle school. So you'll have time to spend with her, right? And then that goes into the decision making. Then you'll have a man sit there and say, okay, you know what? I'll take this deal, right? At least I'm going to get out with enough time to see my kids grow or to see whatever in these life milestones. When you're talking immigration, when you're talking removal, it's hard because that finality isn't there, right? You're splitting up the families and you're putting them in a tough position. Now you've put a mom in a position saying, my father, my husband or father of these kids is about to get deported to whatever, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. Yeah. Do we go with him, or do I stay here and try to provide, what my kids need and what the family needs, or do we find like a third country that we go to? And what a lot of people don't know, like the work I do, where I've really excelled, and I'm a boast, brag about it a little bit. Where I've really excelled is that last option where a lot of lawyers will often overlook. Because a lot of lawyers would want to put pride in, I won this case, I did this, I did that, right? And they'll keep fighting. Yeah. But you got to know, like, what cost, what are you doing for the client, what are you doing for the families, what's the quickest resolution? So that's why I'll do everything in my power and everything in my capabilities to set families up for fresh starts in new countries. Yeah. Whether it be Mexico, we've had success. Paraguay, we've had success. Brazil, Romania, France. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, one of the first things I do, and it kind of like ease the tension in the moment, is tell folks, hey, where do you wish you can live? If you could start all over again, like, what country would you pick? Obviously not like Lebanon or Iraq during the war. What country would you pick? Let's see how we can get you there.
Yeah.
Put our energy and our resources into that, rather than fighting this decades-long immigration battle and losing and this and that, because you're screwed. You got to be real in this work. You got to understand, this is what the client is facing. This isn't a reality. This is reality. This isn't like a dream, where he's going to have a storybook ending. Most of the time, the ending is going to be ugly. Like, most of the time, you're buying time.
Most of the time, that American dream's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. The American dream sometimes is a nightmare. And it's a nightmare to go back home. So why am I wasting tens of thousands of dollars? Why am I telling this guy, go do 1, 2, 3, when you have a better option? Like, we have a friendly government in Mexico. You have Mexico City with a large growing population. You have Canada with a large growing Arab population. Why are we looking at everything through the lens of the U.S.? Why are we not starting to understand and realize we have options in other countries? Yeah. We have lives. We have things in other countries, right? My wife and I, we like to go to this island, Curacao, which is off the coast of Venezuela. Curaçao's airport sits on Rafik Hariri Drive, which is the former prime minister of Lebanon.
Wow.
The little island is full of Lebanese people, right? So, like, why not go start a new life there rather than fighting this deportation battle here for the next decade?
Right.
And your kids going through hell. So we've even had people go there. So there's a lot that goes into it. I love the challenge of it. It's like trying to figure things out and put it together. And at the end of the day, you want to do what's right. That's going to make the family happy and in a better position. Sometimes being in that better position, they may not be happy, but their kids are going to be in a better. Their kids are going to have access to education. Their kids are going to have access to jobs, access to a market, right? You may not be happy because I'm 1,000 miles away from my siblings, or I'm in a country where I have no friends, but it doesn't matter. Your kids are living a much better life now. They're going to have much better opportunity. And that's what I, strive to do, especially for like a lot of these clients that are, and again, they're coming to us pro bono. They're coming to us no income or little income. I don't get the clients that are paying, tens of thousands of dollars to fight something or to sue somebody.
Right.
I wish I was, but the reality is most of our folks in these positions don't have those resources.
Yeah, and to be honest, there's the other side of it too that may not be very sexy for some people, but is the work that has to happen in order for people, members of government, corporations especially, to be held accountable. Like, even subtle examples. I remember, you might be able to speak to it, but like, the high school out there in, what was it, New Mexico or something? Where was Coachella? That just, it was you went out there. It was an honest group of people, and they had their mascot just was like this angry Arab, and that means something to people. Like, they see that and they associate that anger and that look. Late great, Jack Shaheen was big into like all the different research he did. I saw that at the Arab American Museum when I was there, in Dearborn. All the movies, what was it, like less than half of 1% didn't depict Arabs in a negative way, and it's crazy. But talk a little bit about that side of the work and the importance of it, because I think most Arabs overlook that and they just feel like, I'm going to be treated fairly, everything is all good. But if you are, it's quite often the result of someone along the way couldn't treat you unfairly because they had to learn, they had to be taught, they had to be educated, or in some cases they had to be litigated. Speak to that.
Exactly. How am I going to phrase this? The perception of Arabs, the perception of community, it's important, right? People got to understand who we are. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody needs to treat you right? Nobody needs to treat you a certain way. Nobody needs to care for you. Like, we're not, that's not how things go. Now, I will say, in this country, I do believe a lot more people are friendly and like us and easy to get along with than are not. I think that the discrimination that happens is in isolated pockets. I don't think it's an indictment on the American public as a whole. I think you have pockets, you have individuals, one way or another, they don't like us or they're discriminating against us. Most of the time, from those pockets, once you approach them, you explain to them who we are, you get to know them, their attitudes change. Once they get an Arab neighbor or a Muslim neighbor, their attitudes change, right? And I know that sounds cliche, but it's the reality. And every community will tell you that. And there's ways to do that, whether it be through education programs at school, whether it be through TV programs, whether it be through comedy, the work that you do and the way that some of the comedians do, right? Where you get into those uncomfortable conversations in front of crowds, you're not going to know how they react. You're not going to know how they respond. You're going to go up on that stage and you may tell a joke where you're like, holy cow, like, what are they going to say? How are they going to respond? How are they going to feel, right? It's all part of the same work. You're changing opinions, you're changing minds for the betterment of our community, so people gain an understanding. Whether they gain that understanding through laughter or they gain it through an incredible dish, they're gaining it. And collectively, that's what we build. The work in Coachella, California, is like one of my favorite projects, favorite things I've ever worked on, because at that time, we are, in this country around the same time where folks were going after mascots and, with the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians. And, it was heightened times in the U.S. when it came to portrayals and depictions. At the same time, it was heightened times around anti-Arab sentiment where people were, this is under Obama, this is 2013. So it's not like this is like it is now or post 9/11. It was still going on even under, Hussein Obama. It was still happening.
Right.
And here you had this little high school in California in the Coachella Valley. They're saying they're proud of being Arab. I had to do a double take, man. I'm like, what do you mean they're proud of being Arab? This is like, wow, for us, this is like incredible. You think I care? Like, man, you think I care about the mascot? Come on, hey, let's do it. These guys are proud of being Arab. Like, let's go see what they're about. Right. Of course, we had issues with the way the mascot was depicted. They took an old pirate mask and improvised it to look like an Arab. They basically put a keffiyeh on him. It didn't change anything else. They kept the hook nose and the pad, whatever. It was ugly. Still looked better than most Arab guys I know, but it was still ugly.
Like angry pirate, not like Jack Sparrow for anybody who's watching. It wasn't like...
He was angry, bro.
Yeah.
Angry. Like you just knocked over his Adgili angry.
Right.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
Like he's screaming through the mask.
Right.
And I remember flying there, and at the time I reached out to a few people and Professor Khalid Beydoun, who I grew up with in Dearborn, Of course, a lot of people are going to have opinions. That's a whole other show. But I love the kid, and I trust his opinion on these issues. And when it came to the portrayals of our community and discrimination and Islamophobia, he always lent an ear for me to talk this through. And I explained to him like the course of action. Like we're sending this demand letter. They invited me to fly out there and meet with them. I remember flying out there. It's like November of 2013, and driving through Coachella. And mind you, at that time, my only perception of Coachella is like everybody else. It's a concert. It's a festival. It's a festival for rich people, to do drugs and have a good time, right? But when I was driving, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't what I thought. This is poor. Like, this is dirt poor, man. And I'm driving through fields. I'm driving through date fields, and I get to the high school. It just looks run down.
Yeah.
And I remember I called Khalid from the car. I go, what the hell? Like, these aren't, like, I'm preparing to fight with a bunch of white people.
Yeah.
He's like, no, man. He's like, this is all poor Mexican, families.
Right.
I'm like, wow, we can't have brown on brown crime. Well, those were my exact words to him. I go,
yeah,
we can't have brown on brown crime. I'm not about to come out right now and attack the students of this school, because Arabs are, the mascot. I'm not about to do that for a simple reason. This school is so poor, they couldn't afford to paint over the mascot in the gym.
Yeah.
So imagine these kids, and what I learned, like, from the first hour I was there, I met a great guy. His name is Tizok. He's still a great friend, and I want to shout him out. Incredible guy. A lot of these students sleep and live at the fields their parents work. And a lot of them will end up working those fields, those strawberry, those date farms. They're gonna work those fields. They're gonna be field workers. And the last thing they need is going through this difficult time and then having this Arab guy come in to lecture them about identity. We're going to look bad. We're going to look like the bad guy in front of them.
Sure.
I don't care about what folks in our community say. I don't care about the noise or what people are talking about on social media. What I'm going to care about is what are, Tizok and the students and the teachers and, the folks that I connected with, what are they going to feel? What are they going to go through?
Yeah.
And during my first trip there, man, I went family to family. We got to meet them, got to talk to them. It was amazing, right? And you learn their stories. Then you start realizing that a lot of them are going through what we went through. Like, a lot of their stories really emulate and are carbon copies of the stories for Dearborn, when folks moved for the factories and the plants and how hard the parents worked and what the kids are doing. And, the kids pretty much saying, like, this is pre-written for me, right? Like, I'm going to go to high school. I'm going to graduate. This is all I have. Is this high school? Is it for my life? Because at 18 or 19, I'm hitting the labor force. I'll be working the field, or I'm going to be working some sort of labor job. Like, they're not given the opportunities. And through the years, I stayed in touch with them. And I remember that meeting, that trip, the DOJ was there. The news cameras were there. Wallahi, we sat in a meeting, closed door. And I told them, guys, listen, I'm willing. I'm going to serve this community and do whatever. You guys treated me like family, and I'm going to be back here and bring my family back here one day. This is in 2013. And that's come out with some public statements to appease everybody. But I'm going to have your back. If anybody comes and says, why, I got your back. I'm not going to let anything.
Yeah.
Change it from Arabs to mighty Arabs and make the mascot look a little better.
Right.
Because when you listen to them talk about being Arab, wahiyat Allah, man, they were doing a better job at explaining Arab pride and dignity and strength than most Arabs. Bro. They knew our history better than most people, and they knew what it entails. And this is at the beginning when I said, like, lean into the stereotype, right? They looked at us as like warriors, as like fighters, as like people with dignity, people with honor, people willing to defend it. And why should we run away from that?
Maybe even resistors.
Sorry.
Like resistance, like, looking at us as people who, hashtag resist going around at that time, people who
Yeah,
were
and
not,
listen, this story gets even crazier, bro. Listen, like this
yeah,
is, and we kept going with it, and we began setting up programs, and I worked with Tizok. He set up a conference there called Mobius, which does a great job of speaking at events. And we really connected the Mexican American community, the Mexican community there from there, which is different than most others. Like they're so close to the border. There's a whole dynamic and history and study about them, and connecting them to the Arab community. There's a post, like one example, like there's a poster of a Palestinian little girl at the start of the genocide. There's a painting. She's standing in front of the Palestinian flag. You've seen it.
yeah,
That's a Mexican painter from that part of the California that's
Wow.
connected to Coachella, right? So it's like all these people that have come through there that share so much in common with us, right? And I remember I took Khalid out there, and I'm like, it's like you're not gonna understand it until you visit it. Like you're not gonna understand it until I take you there, and you're gonna be like, wow, this guy is right.
yeah,
And when I took Khalid there, he's like, man, this is like all these people talking about how proud they are of being Arab, right? There was an older gentleman who was kind of like our tour guide, and he became a very good friend. Unfortunately, he passed away. And I remember he, like me and Khalid said something like, well, we graduated from Fortson High School, which is like 90% Arab.
yeah.
And he's like, well, we're 100% Arab, so we got you beat, right?
Wow.
And, at one point he's giving us the tour, and then he's like, we don't like Israel too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm like, shit, like here comes the, like, oh, Khalid, just be careful. Let's see,
Yeah.
let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
So he takes us into this room, takes us into this room, turns the lights on. He goes, have you guys heard of the USS Liberty? Like, yeah, we've heard of the USS Liberty, of course, right?
Oh yeah.
And they have this whole like room, like a trophy cases, news articles of the USS Liberty, pieces of the USS Liberty. And I'm like, why? He's like, well, the captain of the USS Liberty is a graduate of our high school.
No way.
Right? And he's like, you just, the turnabout where you come in, he goes, I think his name is McDonough. I got to look up the name. He's like,
Yeah.
That roundabout is named after him. And
Wow.
every year we have a remembrance for the USS Liberty. And he's come and spoken here. And Israel shouldn't have done this. And here's what they did. And he's giving us the breakdown, unsolicited.
Yeah.
Unsolicited, right? Like he felt finally like there's somebody I can talk to about this.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. Like he, the connection, and it just shows how deep the experiences are.
Yeah.
Last summer I was back out there coordinating with some of the local, and there's a young man who was running for Ortiz, and he was running for state assembly. Now he's running for state assembly, but he was on the school board. He came out strong against Israel and pro-Palestine, against the genocide. AIPAC and the Zionists started attacking him on this little school board race that nobody has heard of.
Yeah.
It had the reverse effect because he gained enough votes to basically become like the school board president.
Yeah.
And carried that win into like the state legislature. I remember talking to him, like, have you connected with, and I named the organizations. He's like, no. I'm like, how'd you learn so much? Like, why you? And he's like, I'm human. Why am I not going to care? Right? Like this is our fight right now. Like this is who we are right now. Right? So much of that shared history is there. Like that reason the Coachella Valley is what it is because of the date farms and everything, because Saudi Arabia brought those date farms over in the early 1900s and cultivated the economy and the workforce. And Cesar Chavez organized there. The union marchers started there. The labor marchers started there. One of the first victims to die during those labor marches was a Yemeni American labor organizer who was killed by the police in Coachella, right? So that there's ties there between our community and the Hispanic community, the Mexican community of that part. And, it shows like, look, I could have gone into that first meeting.
Guns blazing,
looking for social media likes, looking for posts, looking for validation online. And that would have lived for like 15 minutes and you would have gotten the likes, moved on, and had no chance of cultivating and keeping the relationships we have now.
Yeah.
Um,
It would have just been scorched earth at that point because
it
they were
was
already
so
down.
cool. But over a decade later, I've made some lifelong friends,
Yeah.
lifelong connections. I go out there every summer and fall. Tizoc, his family and wife, and I mean, they're incredible people. And I'm glad like that decision. And that's the thought process I have is you got to look 2, 3, 4 years down the line, right? Look
Yeah.
beyond the likes and the posts and the algorithm. Like where's it going to get you? What's the end game? And that's like a perfect example of, you know, getting them to better understand you,
Yeah.
better who you are, and forget even, oh, they're not going to discriminate against you. It's
Yeah.
like now we're going to have state assembly members and school board members that are elected that care about our community because they, saw the respect that we treated each other with 15 years ago. Like it still lives with these kids who were in elementary and high school at the time, who are now young professionals who are graduating, who are running for
Yeah.
office. So it's a great. The way that it played out is great. It's phenomenal.
Well, you brought up, forgetting the 50 minutes of fame and all and that, likes and kind of the click culture and clicktivism, that we have and kind of thinking about what the end game is. And so, I really wanted to, in fact, I'll even kind of segue us into, you and I were sitting now drinking our cup of tea, you're drinking your soda, whatever. خلاص احنا now it wouldn't and I mentioned this to you even prior, like it I couldn't imagine having you on without mentioning the fact that it's no surprise to anybody who's been following. You've done a lot of tremendous work. You've worked with a lot of great teams. You've worked and done a lot of amazing things. But you also have one part of your title, which is former executive director at ADC. And it wouldn't be the Arab is Me podcast without pausing for a second for me to talk to you a little bit about that, because honestly, the American Anti-Discrimination Committee, very much when they describe themselves kind of as grassroots and things like that, I find that to be true in that, like, a lot of people came up through those ranks. And so, to be very candid with you, I was when I saw, and obviously I can't get into some of the details, names and certain things like that. We're gonna leave that to the side because there's current stuff and I'm sure litigation and things like that are happening. So I don't want to go down that route. But what I do want to say is, when I first saw, I was very much heartbroken, and I was heartbroken for a couple of different reasons. The first reason I consider to be the obvious, which is we try to rally behind institutions because the institutions are rallying behind us, right? And they're the ones who are having our backs. And so when we see something like this happen, it makes me, I'll just speak for myself. It makes me just kind of like, I almost let out a big exhale where I was just like, man, seriously? Because you don't want institutions to have to go through those situations. But at the same time, like, yeah, while it's heartbreaking that these things are happening, and I'm not saying heartbreaking like I feel bad for any particular individuals within that organization or whatever. I'm actually feeling bad initially for the fact that a lot of the things that you're mentioning about like what Arabs are going through in America needs a strong organizations, plural, potentially, to stand up for people and to help amplify their voices and those kind of things. So when I see that, to me, it's kind of like being on a plane and somebody says, we lost one of the engines. Like, can we get there? Can we safely land? Possibly. But we would have gotten to our destination a lot quicker had all the engines been firing. And so when I saw that, I was really very much heartbroken on the one hand, and then I was heartbroken on the other side because like I've had people come in and out of that organization. And so I was sitting there watching like this person saying this person saying that. And of course, the executive director, one of my best friends, I'm like, man, this is heavy. And immediately everybody goes to the internet and everybody's posting and opinions and this is that and this is this and we should that. And my opinion was very clear that like when those things happen, I'm very quick to start asking for information. I will start messaging. I messaged ADC. They didn't reply, but that doesn't necessarily mean they were scared of me per se. I may just not be worthy of a response. I don't know. But like I wanted to find out, I message you, I message other people. I try to find out like, hey, what's going on? And you see those things happen. And especially for somebody like yourself and even some of the others, like people came out that I knew that were like this happened and that happened and all of these details. I'm simultaneously like feeling for them, feeling for you, questioning them, questioning you. like it's a total like just it screws with your mind because you're really trying to put all the pieces together. But even putting that to the side, I know the people who went there and had situations that took place and left, I'm heartbroken for them because their intention, at least I hope, was to do amazing work to help people. And they were cheated of that, right? From their perspective, they were cheated of. But you at the same time, and I know I bring this up to you all the time, like, the old saying, like you climb the mountain so you can see others, not so they can see you. I always knew that most of the work that you were doing and even others were doing behind the scenes. Like I remember sitting down with you saying, how come you're not taking these stacks of cases and putting them on social media and tell people and fundraise? And I always used to get so frustrated that this isn't a fundraising thing. And you'd be like, bro, I just got to get the work done. These people need us. I got to get the work done. I was so broken in a lot of cases. And you saw like your mom posting stuff, and your mom, I love her. She did exactly what moms should do. Your mom came out there, Dirty Harry, just straight up staring like, hey, make my day. That's my boy. And I get it. At the same time, I look at the things that you were kind of going through, and I was just like, this guy, and this, and this is my long question. This is an Arab question. Take about 45 minutes. So I want to know from like your perspective, and again, I know you can't get into some of the details. Like, what's that next day like? Where, and I know you're still doing, you're still helping people, and you're still doing a lot of work and things like that, and you have a lot of, probably some irons in the fire and things like that you're going to be working on. We can talk about, but what's that next day like where like you feel like, bro, such a huge part of my professional career was doing this. That email address was mine. That phone number was mine. That office was, this part of office was where I was every day, and I was this and I was that. What's that like for you to not feel like that chapter is over, but maybe just that organization's chapter for you is over? Like, what was that feeling like? And where are you now with how do you kind of keep your head in the game? I kind of feel like you were I don't know, Joe Montana went to the Chiefs. Like,
oh, look, it's
here to see the jersey not on him,
right. That's a good question. It's a long one, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
Obviously I won't get into too many details. Look, an organization like ADC, and I mean, I was attracted to it because of its mission. It has a noble mission.
Right.
The community needs a strong ADC, just like it needs a strong CARE, it needs a strong AAI, it needs a strong MPAC. The stronger our institutions, the stronger we are. That's the reality of it, right? No institution is perfect. None of them should claim to be perfect. Every institution has problems and areas of improvement. I can tell you, I laid it all out. I did what I can, not for the sake of, this. And we, like you mentioned, we got into conversations about fundraising and with Belkacem and others about like kind of shaking me down. I'm like, why are you not talking about 1, 2, 3? And my response is, well, we got to respect the dignity of these people we're working with, I don't want to put their business out there. We can't do this. We can't do that. Right. So it's always, community and people first. When I took over as executive director was, less than a year in, we were hit with 10/7. And really, I was given an opportunity to kind of lead in a way which the community wanted to hear. And I'm proud of the work we did. I'm proud of the tone we had. I'm proud of the precedent we set. We were the first organization to come out against Joe Biden. I was one of the first of senior leadership of any organization to call out the Democrats, to call out Biden, to be open to working with Republicans, working with those on the right. Because you know what, that child or that girl or that young kid in Gaza who just had their parents killed, they don't give a shit who you're voting for.
Right.
They don't care about Democrat or Republican or they don't. So to sit down and try to play politics and think that you're a mastermind politician while people are dying, trying to force people to vote for a certain party, I wasn't having any of it.
Right.
And I stood my ground on that. And, not a lot of people know 10/7 things happened. I put out a statement. We said our things. That next day or that evening, I got a call from the White House telling us, take down your statement. This is a call from within the White House.
Wow.
Take down your statement. Don't use these words. If you don't take down your statement, we're going to discontinue engagement with you.
Wow.
And I started laughing. I go, thank you for kind of like hooking up our fundraising, because all I need to go to our community and tell them this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
We went back and forth. And I mean, ultimately, I told the person, you're becoming everything you said Donald Trump was. You validated for me right now on 10/8 that I'm not going to be working with you over the next couple of years. Like, this is going to be ugly. Like, we knew early on. And if you go back to the organization's Instagram or you go back to my Instagram page, we called it a genocide 4 or 5 days in.
Right.
We're like, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't, like I was constantly getting pushback, but we led. We were steadfast in our messaging. We knew what we wanted to say. And I would rather have a foundation or a politician be mad at me and not Saeed Durrah be mad at me, right? Like,
right.
The community was who I was answering to. And it's the first time we had a national organization or national leadership really do it to that extent. Refused, a lot of foundation money, relied on community fundraising, but that gave us the ability to speak freely. That gave us the ability to talk the language and talk the tone that the community wanted to hear. The last thing the community wanted to hear was vote for a Democrat because they're Democrat, or vote blue, or vote this. No, they wanted to know who's going to stand up for us. It doesn't matter what aisle or what party they're from. I'm proud of the work we did there. And a lot of it ultimately caught up. I think the biggest lesson over the past few months is you really can't trust many people, including ones that are very close and people that were within your own home or people that hung out with your family or at your parents' house. You never know, what their agenda is, how they're lurking, and how they're maneuvering. And I always, acted with the best of intentions, acted in the, for the sake of the community, and I'll stand by that. And I think my track record shows that, and treated everybody with respect. But the number of people that have, kind of taken their turn to not just throw me under the bus, but kind of like drive the bus back and forth.
Right.
It's incredible, right? But those are lessons learned. But there's a lot of like positive lessons learned. And I mean, like, you're right. Like it wasn't easy. Like the morning after or dealing with it after, it wasn't easy, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my family, my parents. I'm thankful for my wife, who's been incredible and very steadfast. And Marianne has been there from, her, she's been very strong and with me through all of this. Like, this isn't something either one of us anticipated happening, but we pivoted, we adjusted. Anybody I've worked with, they'll tell you, two big things I'm keen on are the ability to pivot. If you can't pivot in your work or in your personal life, you're going to lose. You got to from one thing for another, right? And that's key for me. So we had to pivot. We had to figure out like next plans, next steps. You can't sit around and mope around and shit happens, right? It happened. But a lot of the work I put in, I could still do, right? Like I'm still there. I'm still taking the calls. I'm still providing services. I'm still working with entities. There's opportunity to continue growing. The mountain is still there. We just have a different perspective or a different view of it. And I've come out of it realizing there's a lot more work to be done within the community. There's a lot of areas we can improve ourselves. There's a lot of areas where I can improve myself personally.
Right.
But one single organization doesn't hold a monopoly
on
our work. No single organization ever will. And if we ever get to a point where it is a single organization, then that's a failure. Like we can't get to that. We need many strong entities, and hopefully they'll all get there. Including hopefully one day ADC will get back to being as strong as it was when when I was leading it. So there's a lot of challenges ahead. For them, there's a lot of challenges ahead for the community, but I'm prepared to do it either way. Again, I haven't stopped. I'm still working with a lot of pro bono clients. I'm still, doing what I can on the education front, doing what I can, meetings with different law enforcement agencies, meeting with different education institutions. So it's not stopping. I wasn't getting paid much for it before. I'm not getting paid for it now.
Yeah.
But ultimately I'll land into something that, is a revenue provider and a source for revenue. I have faith in that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I hope, whether it be ADC or otherwise, like, I always, think it was the MLK quote, it's never wrong to do the right thing, and if you don't know what the right thing is, it's your job to go find it out. Like, I think sometimes people think like, how would I know? Then you need to work twice as hard to know what that right thing is. And sometimes I wish that some organizations, including ADC, including those that are there at ADC, including those who are on the board at ADC, whoever it may be, sometimes you also have to listen with the intention to listen only, not the intention to respond, not to sit there and wait on the edge of your seat to just be like, yeah, just get it all out so I can just tell you. Like, you got to be able to listen. You got to be able to understand. If you did something wrong, you might as well just get it out of your system, and sometimes I feel like we feel that those who cut the biggest checks own something. The community owns the organization. That's why it's a community-based organization, right?
Right.
Like, just like sometimes I see, religious institutions that'll be like, oh, our new president of the whatever is this lawyer. Just because he knows law doesn't mean he can run your mosque or your church or whatever. Just because this guy's a doctor doesn't mean he can run whatever. Just because this guy's I don't know, a professional athlete. I'll even go as far as to say you could be a professional athlete doesn't mean you could be a coach. Like, so I'm hoping that we get to a point where a lot of these organizations kind of get themselves to a point where they're listening to people, they're understanding, and every decision they're making it as if their entire donor base and the entire community is looking over their shoulder.
Exactly.
And I know that you always have things cooking. I know you had mentioned to me at some point, you had even given some thought to, creating kind of something new and a new channel. I don't know if those are things that are fleshed out yet that you wanted to mention here, or.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. Look, I am working with a few people on a new entity that will provide, legal and advocacy, support and services. Say the one thing that's really changed, and I realized this early on, federally, not a lot is happening. Investing in a strategy to mobilize on Capitol Hill is a waste of time. This country's political system is broken. And no one is waiting for the Arabs to come in and save it. We can barely save ourselves.
Right.
So we have a lot of things we have to improve on, but we have a lot of things as a community that are untapped that we are doing right.
Yeah.
And I'll take it back to Dearborn, right, where we started a conversation with, and our focus on like the local and community level and the household level, right? we can mobilize locally. We can mobilize a lot of people to school board meetings and to city council meetings. That's what allowed us to get vetoes from governors of 2 different states. That's what allows state lawmakers to listen to us. So how can we tap into that local power? Ignore what's happening federally. Like, that's a wash. We
Right.
got years to go before we're out here. And there's a lot of people, by the way, that are out there doing great things on a federal level and in Congress, and folks that are running. And one day we'll have a house full of Rashidas that are going to be clearly on one side for this issue.
Sure.
But we have the ability, we have the makeup to talk to Republicans, to talk to Democrats, to talk to independents, and to achieve things at a local level. So I am starting something, and it's going to be something that taps into the local power, the local organizing power of our community. Because we got to understand, what we do in DC and federally, it's a wash. We're not going to be changing Congress. I mean, it's a broken system. That's a whole other conversation. But we can impact things locally. We can have an impact locally. And just look at Dearborn in Michigan, what we've done at local races there, what they're about to do this fall, inshallah, with Abdullah Al-Sayed winning. That's the blueprint of what we can do across the country. So hopefully some good things will be, announced in the near future.
Inshallah. I'm hoping so, man, because we need it, and I'm hoping that whatever, obviously I'm hoping great things for you, and hoping, especially when things kind of wrap up and we're able to get, the final information on what happens and how things shake up. I'll be really interested to see that too. So I can know more about who broke my heart over there, and more information. But to be honest, it's going to take a village. It's going to take a lot of good organization. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about some of those things. And now, as we start to kind of wrap up a little bit, and I appreciate you giving us, all this time. We do something special here at Arab Is Me podcast, where we end with something that I call the albab. We're at the albab at this point, time of the interview. And the albab is very simple for everybody who hasn't learned and hasn't watched it on some of the other episodes. Albab is very simple. It's after you're done the coffee, the tea, the chai, the dessert, the whole 9 yards. Now you're moving towards the door, but then there usually is more conversation to be had, and it's usually very quick. Like, whenever I leave my house, or I leave my parents' house, I should say, they'll come in and go, oh, by the way, so this is that by the way, or ala fikra, just one more thing. So part of this, Abed, is we align with an organization, because sometimes people want to skip the questions. They're like, oh, that's too hard, I want to skip it. Well, if you skip in this case, you're going to have to make a donation to an organization that you choose. And if you don't skip any, I make a donation to an organization of your choosing. And you chose Amity Foundation. And Amity Foundation, if you want to find out more, go to The Amity Way. That's TheAmityWay.org, an organization that's out there in Dearborn, helping with a lot of members of the community. So if you skip something on purpose, that's up to you. That means you're going to be giving them some money, $1, $1 million, whatever it is, you honor system. And if you don't skip any, that's fine too. So are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Some of these are off the wall. I got my little list here. So we're gonna go kind of rapid fire here. Hey, sitting al bab, and let's go. And again,
the shoes on, jacket.
Yeah. Get the tracksuit buttoned up and zipped up, and we're ready to go. So, all right. Now, question number 1. You have to eliminate one of these singers' entire catalog from history and just keep one of them. Are you eliminating Fairuz or Kulthum? See, you're making a donation right off the bat. You got to eliminate one entire.
Wow, like who's gonna come after me? The Egyptians or the Lebanese?
Yeah, so
we're gonna have to eliminate Kulthum.
Oh man, Kalthum. I don't know. Everybody get him in the comments. Kalthum.
I mean,
Count for the
my family's Lebanese, bro. Like, what do you want me to like
count. Yeah.
hear from them? You know, like.
All right. So you have some experience with traveling for Arab weddings. So I'm about to ask you this next question. If you have to travel for an Arab wedding, does it change the amount you give as a gift?
No.
So you keep it the same. Doesn't matter how far.
You gotta keep it the same, man.
Oh.
Well, you know what though? It kind of maybe it depends on how close the person is to you.
Yeah.
Like if the person is like super close, then you know it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But if the person is like, you know, some kid that you went to high school with, yani, why are you traveling to begin with?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No.
You know, yeah. Like, is it necessary for you to be there, bro? Like seriously, like Ahmed and Zainab are gonna care with 300-400 people there. Like, yani, you showed up, they're gonna be like, oh wow, Abed showed up. They're not gonna give a shit, bro.
I've had people invite me to weddings outside of the country,
they want your check.
And my family has said that's aib for them to invite you.
They want your check, man.
Yeah, that's aib for them to invite you and expect you're going to spend all the money to go. And I'm like, isn't it aib not to invite me? They're like, no, not in this case.
Yeah, they just want your check. So I mean, I guess, you know, it depends how close they are.
Right. Well, this next question may also
tell them you got COVID. Tell them you got COVID.
Yeah.
You got COVID, that's it. You can't go, bro.
And then they send you a link to the registry, and you're like, wow, yeah. All right.
Who does registries? You can't have registries as an Arab.
All right. So the third question is, the third question is, if you have a friend that is now on their third, fourth, fifth marriage, tell us, do you turn off the gift giving? Or you consistently continue to give? Do you lessen for each one? What's going on? And I'm not talking about marrying four at the same time. I don't want to get into that discussion. I'm talking about new people, brand new.
Oh, man. You know, that's a good one. Yeah, and if the laws come into play, bro, if this guy is going on number 5,
I think khalas. I think
yeah, you got to look at like the type of character he is. Like we all have that guy that you know would be marrying his number 5. We know exactly the type of guy he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's his 5th bachelor party, you're definitely going. You know, like
5th bachelor party had the issue. Like it's different. You go to the 5th wedding, the guy's just like, hey, you know, what are you gonna get me? Khalas, you could have put what I gave you before at 500, you'd be good.
Yeah, if he's asking you to begin with, again, I got COVID, man. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. COVID is always a good.
So if it's like his 5th and her 4th,
but bro, you can't do that in Dearborn. You can't say I got COVID. The Dearborn family's
COVID's fake,
bro. They're gonna see you down the street of Tahamas smashing a shawarma.
Bro, COVID is fake in Dearborn. You think it really exists?
All right. So, true or false? Marriage is about marrying who you love, even if your parents don't like them.
Yeah. I mean, true. If you want, like, you know, pick a tough reality, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, bro, these questions are for white people, man. Like, come on, we talk.
Okay, then here's the next question. Then to determine who's white and who's not, is hummus a meal, a dip, or a side?
All 3.
Okay, if all 3.
It's all 3. It could be a meal. If you
you're making a donation. You're ducking the question. You're ducking the question.
I'm not. If you get hummus and you put the meat and the snoobar on top, it's a meal. You get hummus, but you're dipping your like shawarma or like the deconstructed shawarma that they put out there now.
Yeah.
Shawarma bowl.
Some new age stuff. Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Like a shawarma bowl. Like what is it? I mean, like these are the same type of people that like they'll buy a glass of milk and then pour cereal in it. That's what it sounds like. Give me a shawarma bowl. Hey, you fucking shawarma bowl.
All right.
You dip in the shawarma, or it could be a side too. I mean, they got like there's little hummus cups now my kids eat.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta ease them into it. It could be 3. I mean, it could all be 3. I could, you know, I could have hummus as a meal if it's the only thing on the table, and you have a nice big plate of hummus with a fresh bread. I'm not complaining. I can have it as a meal.
I don't want to chime in on my thoughts on this. I think it could be a good hummus with good bread. Maybe it's the Ghazawi enemy, but that's a good meal all by
Good
itself.
meal all day, man.
Yeah.
You ever
All
make
right.
hummus with a little bit of Lebanon?
I know coming from Dearborn, we talked about coffee houses and all this kind of stuff. Favorite hot drink from the Arab? What is it?
Adani tea.
Adani tea. Okay. So then this goes to the next question. You're sitting with the Adani tea, you're enjoying it, you're about to have a beautiful conversation with somebody. That somebody can be anybody, alive or past, any Arab, alive or past, and you can spend the next hour sipping your tea and talking about anything you want, asking them whatever they want. Who is that Arab? And don't say like my wife, so you don't get beat up by your wife, or say Prophet Muhammad, or Imam.
Yeah, we can't say like the religious figures like Imam Ali.
Yeah.
Like those are no brainers, right?
Yeah, no brainers. Yeah.
Man, maybe like William Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare? Who, Arabic?
Yeah, he was an Arab.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison, come on, Arabic?
Arab, yeah.
Wow. These are Abraham Lincoln.
Man, that's a good question, Saeed. Tariq ibn Zayd, man.
Yeah.
The guy that took Spain.
Okay.
That guy was a Jew. Well, he might not say he's Arab, like, we're gonna get into like the whole identity thing. But Shakespeare was an Arab. I mean, come on.
All right, Khishna wala Nama.
Man.
Even the music beat dropped there.
I know, even the beat dropped, bro. Which one is the one, the orange stringy one that I make?
Orange stringy one?
Yeah, like the stringy.
You probably make Nama. I don't think you have the phyllo dough sprinkled on top, the shredded phyllo dough.
I have the shredded strings. I don't know.
Maybe. So maybe you have a hybrid. Tell us now.
Hybrid. I mean, hey, bro, my cheesecake. I'm a great cook.
Yeah. No, you do. You make good desserts. Mashallah. You do the no-bake cheesecakes. I remember it's just the problem that they vanished. Like I had one slice, but somehow half of it was gone. My wife was like, "Where'd it go?"
Yeah, those cheesecakes.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
There were cheesecakes and cheesecakes.
All right. So let's say you got a brand new car and you show it to your Arab friend in Dearborn, and 5 minutes after you show it to them, the tire goes flat. Is this coincidence or hasad?
Depends on the friend.
Wow. Okay.
Depends on the friend, bro. Because there are some people, the only thing they want to see in your life is your new car get a flat tire.
Okay.
That's true, man. There's some folks out there that you think are friends, bro, and they're the ones slashing your fucking tires. Excuse my language. But then listen, you got some friends out there, especially in Dearborn, folks I've known my entire life, bro. They'll give you the shirt off your back, man. They'll help you push that car on a flat tire 10 miles.
Yeah. So, I hear you. All right. So most overrated Arab food.
Anything Egyptian.
Wow. Anything Egyptian is overrated? Oh, they're gonna get you in the comments.
Have you looked at like their national dish?
Which one? The kushari? I don't understand kushari, but I know some Egyptians are gonna get on me right now. I'm telling them I didn't say it's disgusting. I said I don't get it.
I don't get it. It's like a kid with schizophrenia spazzing out making a dish. You got like macaroni, you got tomato sauce, you got Lebanon.
Oh my goodness!
Like, I can't make up my mind. Is it like a vegan dish or a meat dish?
The next Egyptian comes on the podcast, I need to understand. I need to know where it came from and all that. All right, then what's the most underrated?
Most underrated? Now this is gonna shock you.
Okay.
Mensa.
Underrated.
Why? Let me tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
Because Mensa is only, popular with that like small region, the Palestinian, Jordanian, right? Like, I didn't know what Mensa was till I got married. Yeah. A lot of Lebanese folks, Syrian folks, they got no idea, man. You got no idea what it is, till you have it. Like they got no idea what it is. So you meet a Jordanian, or you meet a Palestinian, and you have some. So it's not like a well-known, popular dish. It's well-known and popular amongst your friends and family because you're eating it. But for everybody else, it's like, what is this thing? Where has it been my entire life?
Yeah.
Like, how did we miss out on this?
Yeah.
And we have a hard time describing it. But I have to go. I have to go with Mansaf, man. It's really under. It's like the Gonzaga of like foods.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for me, Mensef is like one of my top for sure.
It's 100%. Dish. It's a great contribution.
All right. So you go to your doctor and he tells you, Abed, you have to stop eating rice or bread. You choose which one you stop.
Rice.
Oh man, no love for rice, man.
I mean, how are you gonna have how are you gonna eat your hummus?
I don't know.
With a carrot stick?
with a carrot.
You might as well change your name to like Brian.
Hey, Brad, I tell you again, my mom being from Gaza, now we eat bread with bread. Like we take bread with hummus and bread. So I'm with you. All right. So if we met up for lunch and we both were pushing to pay the bill, who do you think wins? You or me?
I mean, the restaurant and the waiter, they're going to get a huge tip, like either way.
So you're basically saying we're both going to forcibly pay.
We're both going to forcibly pay one way or another. It's got to be whoever's like the most creative.
All right.
Is it doing it,
So I have
I think I'll win because I use Apple Pay. You don't. You still have Android, I think.
Yeah.
So you don't have that like touch screen. You're still like.
But if it's a restaurant that I go to on a regular basis, it's game over. They won't accept payment from other people.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, that's true.
If I just look at them. So I have a good final question for you because this is a perfect Abed Ayoub question. If you are running late to an event and you check your GPS and it says you are an hour away and your friend says to you, Abed, how far are you? What's your response?
A few minutes.
A few minutes. So not even like 15. A few.
Few minutes. I have COVID.
You're using COVID for everything, and
now we're gonna look back and realize what a great excuse it was.
Yeah, and now you outed yourself, and then the next time you tell me I got COVID, I'm gonna be like, "Cause it's
yeah, right. It doesn't exist."
Awesome. Well, and I enjoyed having you, Abed. I know we had a couple tech difficulties, but I don't think anybody will notice by the time we're done editing this. So I just outed myself. That shows how honest I am, mashallah. I appreciate having you. Tell us a little bit. Where can we find you? Where can we, keep in touch and see what Abed Ayoub is working on in the future?
Instagram. You could put my I don't even know my handle. I think it's Ayoub313.
Yeah.
Okay. Also on Twitter at Ayoub, and people can reach out anytime and people can DM me. I'm very responsive if you need help with anything or want to talk through a legal question, immigration, or even need help organizing something. You just reach out. I mean, I'm very responsive on that.
All right. Perfect. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining the Arab is Me podcast, and everybody, thank you for listening. We appreciate you always. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all those things that everybody on social media tells you to do, but do it twice as much for me, inshallah. So thank you so much. Thanks, Abed, for joining us, and thank you to everybody. And stay tuned for the next episode. Salamat.